My name is Marcus Dean. I'm 41 years old. I own a small construction company out in Colorado, the kind of business where you build homes for people who think they've found forever. Funny, isn't it? I spent my whole life building homes for others, but I couldn't keep mine from falling apart. This story didn't begin with shouting or some explosive fight. It started on a Tuesday. I still remember the weather, gray skies, soft drizzle, like the whole world was trying to whisper something I wasn't ready to hear. I came home from a job site late, muddy boots, tired bones, and there it was, sitting right on the kitchen counter. Her house key. And a note, written in her handwriting I knew better than my own. I need some space, Marcus. Please don't make this harder. I'll be in touch. See. I stood there for what felt like hours, just reading it over and over. No fight. No warning. Just silence. No kiss goodbye. No explanation. Just a request for space. I wanted to call her, text her, drive around the city and find her. But I didn't. Instead, I walked outside, sat on the porch we built together, and just stared at the sky. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just breathed, like a man trying to survive underwater. And it hit me. She was done. She was gone. And I was about to give her exactly what she asked for, space. But not in the way she ever expected. That note shattered something inside me, but what rose from it wasn't grief. It was strategy. Claire wasn't my first love, but she was the one I thought would be my last. We met 6 years ago at a local bookstore in Boulder. She was arguing with the clerk about how they alphabetized the poetry section. I offered to help, mostly just to make her smile. She rolled her eyes, but I saw it. That soft curve of a grin that said, "Okay, I'll let you try." She was smart, sarcastic, mysterious in a way that didn't feel like she was hiding something, just that she had layers you'd want to peel back over years, not days. And for a while, I did. We fell fast. Weekend coffee dates turned into Sunday brunches at my place. Brunches turned into moving in. And before long, we were picking out backsplash tiles and arguing about hardwood versus carpet like two people planning a whole future. We were never rich, but we were happy, or at least I thought we were. I ran my company. She freelanced as a copywriter. Our schedules didn't always match, but we made space for each other. I cooked dinner. She lit candles. We slow danced in the kitchen sometimes, even without music. I swear, sometimes it felt like a movie. But there was always one place she loved more than anywhere, a small luxury cabin in Aspen. We rented it for our first anniversary. Just a 2-night stay, snow falling like magic, fireplace crackling. I remember her standing in the window, barefoot, whispering, "This is the only place in the world I can breathe." She called it her reset button. Every few months, she'd go there alone. Said it helped her write better, think clearer. At first, I encouraged it. Everyone needs space. I figured it was healthy. She'd light up when we booked it. Pack her books and sweaters like she was preparing for a pilgrimage. I trusted her. Always. I kept working. Kept saving. Even thought about buying the cabin one day, just to surprise her. But over time, things changed. She stopped coming back with that sparkle in her eyes. She started canceling dinner plans. Her phone, once left on the couch carelessly, was now always face down. She said she needed mental clarity. That I was too much routine, and she needed spontaneity. I nodded. I listened. I believed her. Because love, when it's deep, makes you ignore small cracks. You just assume the foundation is strong enough to hold. And so, I kept building the life for us. While she was already packing her bags to leave it. She used to tell me that cabin saved her. I didn't realize she meant it was saving her from me. The first real shift came quietly, like a cold draft through a closed window. Subtle, unspoken, but unmistakable once you felt it. Claire stopped looking me in the eye. She still smiled, still said, "I love you." But there was a delay now, like she had to remember the words, not feel them. Our conversations got shorter. She started saying things like, "You wouldn't get it," when I asked how her writing was going. Or, "I'm just tired," when I tried to pull her close in bed. Her phone, once left on kitchen counters and bathroom sinks, became a permanent fixture in her pocket. Notifications off. Always face down. I remember one night. We were lying in bed, me, half asleep after a long day pouring concrete in the cold, and her screen lit up. 2:07 a.m. A message. Just a name, Wade. I said nothing. Rolled over. Pretended I didn't see. The next day, I casually asked, "Who's Wade?" She blinked. Too long. Too careful. Then, "Just someone from the writers' group. He's helping me with plot structure." I nodded. I wanted to believe her. I always wanted to believe her. But something had changed in me that night. It was like my gut had finally caught up with what my heart had been too proud to admit. I started watching. Not like a spy. Not like some jealous man. Just observant. She took longer showers. She went on more solo trips. She stopped mentioning future plans. No more, "We should try that new place." Or, "What if we took a cruise next summer?" And then came the credit card charge. I was reviewing our joint statements for taxes. There it was, $2,680, Aspen, Colorado. A 5-night stay at her favorite cabin. But she told me she was staying at her sister's in Arizona. My hands didn't shake. My face didn't twist. I just stared at the screen and whispered to myself, "So that's where the truth lives now." I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions. I just opened my laptop, and for the first time in years, typed the name of that cabin into a property database. And I saw something I wasn't ready for. It was for sale. She thought I was sleeping. But that night, I woke up in every possible way. It was a Sunday evening. She'd just come back from one of her creative retreats. Same suitcase. Same soft smile. But this time, her hug lingered, not out of love, out of guilt. You can feel the difference when someone holds you because they miss you, versus when they're trying to hide something they've done. She unpacked quickly. Too quickly. Said she was tired. Went to bed early. I stayed up. And I did something I never imagined I would. I opened her laptop. Now before you judge me, understand this. I had never crossed that line. Not once. Not in 6 years. But trust doesn't just die. It rots slowly. And mine had been rotting for months. The laptop wasn't locked. I opened her email. Something told me not to search for messages, but for attachments. That's when I saw it. A folder labeled Aspen Drafts. Click. Inside were several PDFs, poetry, short fiction, writing prompts. I opened one at random. It wasn't a poem. It was a letter. Never sent. Titled, "Wade, you make me feel like me again." I don't remember reading all of it. My brain blurred halfway through. But I remember the way it began. "You make me feel 27 again. You remind me I'm not just a wife or a writer or someone's idea of perfect. I don't know how this ends, but I know I don't want it to. She signed it. Yours, C. I stared at the screen, the cursor blinking at the bottom like it was mocking me. I didn't slam the laptop shut. I didn't go upstairs and confront her. I just sat there, listening to the sound of her breathing through the bedroom wall. And in that moment, something inside me clicked. Not pain. Not rage. Just clarity. She was already gone. And I had one last thing to give her. She wanted space. I was going to give her space. I just wasn't going to share it with her. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I started making phone calls. The next morning, I made her coffee. 2 sugars, a splash of almond milk, just how she liked it. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek. Thanks, babe. You're always so thoughtful. I smiled back. And in my head, I whispered, I know. I didn't say a word. I didn't hint at anything. I acted like everything was normal, even as every single hour became part of a plan she'd never see coming. My first call was to a local real estate contact I'd worked with years ago, Jim Travers. He owed me a favor. I asked him to look into a cabin for me, didn't give too many details, just said it was for an off-grid retreat. Within 48 hours, I had a full file on the Aspen property. Turns out, the owner was an older woman planning to move to Oregon to be closer to her daughter. She was motivated to sell. Quietly. Discreetly. Perfect. I created an LLC through a legal buddy of mine. Just a random holding name, Mountain Deep Ventures. No way Claire would ever trace it to me. Within 2 weeks, I had placed an all-cash offer. I didn't even flinch when the total came in at $484,000. I had savings. I had assets. I had purpose. While Claire packed for her next riding trip, I was finalizing the closing documents. While she took long showers, I was installing smart surveillance systems remotely. While she kissed me goodbye, I was having a locksmith change the deadbolts before she even reached the freeway. The cabin was mine now. Every window, every inch of wood, I knew it better than she did. And she still had no idea. I even sent her off with a small care package, trail mix, protein bars, a handwritten note. Clear your head. You deserve peace. Oh, she was going to get peace all right. But not the kind she expected. Before she arrived at the cabin, I made one last upgrade. I linked the entire security system to my phone. Door locks, motion sensors, thermostat, cameras. Every time someone stepped inside, I'd know. And then it happened. Friday night, 8:14 p.m. Notification. Front door opened. Aspen cabin. Another ping. Guest phone connected to Wi-Fi. Wade's iPhone. I sat there on my couch. Fireplace glowing. Calm as a monk. Watched them walk in through the camera feed. Her favorite coat. His backpack slung over his shoulder like he belonged. They poured wine. She laughed. He touched her back like I used to. I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I opened the app and locked the doors. Every single one. From my phone. Then, I turned off the Wi-Fi. And finally, I sent her a message from an unlisted number. Looks like you needed space. I bought it for you. Just not with you in it. I watched the confusion melt into panic. Watched her try to open the door. Watched Wade fumble with the thermostat as the heat shut down. Snow was falling outside. But inside, the ice was mine to control now. She used that place to disappear from me. So I gave her a version of it she'd never forget. They didn't last more than 10 minutes inside the cabin. At first, they laughed, probably thought it was a power outage or some tech glitch. But then they tried the front door, then the back, then the thermostat again. I watched Wade pull out his phone. No signal. No Wi-Fi. Claire's face shifted. It wasn't fear. Not yet. It was recognition. A gut feeling that something wasn't right. That she wasn't in control anymore. She tried calling me. Twice. Once from her phone. Once from Wade's. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent one final message, not cruel, not loud. Just honest. You chose him. But I own the key to the place you lied in. That chapter ends here. I let them sit in the cold for an hour. Not dangerous cold, just enough to leave a memory that lingers in the bones. Then I unlocked the doors. Let them leave. I watched her walk out without looking back. And that's when my real plan began. Over the next few days, I gathered everything. File folder email drafts. File folder cabin security footage. File folder timeline of her lies. File folder bank statements she didn't know I could access. I met with a lawyer, not for revenge. For strategy. We had no kids. No messy entanglements. But Claire was entitled to a portion of my business if I didn't prove infidelity. So I proved it. The security footage was never invasive, just enough to show unauthorized use of private property by an unknown male. The emails? That Aspen draft letter was more than emotional. It was evidence. When the divorce papers came, she was shocked. Blindsided. She tried to meet in person. I declined. She tried to cry on the phone. I didn't hang up. I just didn't say a word. Then came the mediation. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. Labeled simply, Exhibit C, Aspen Incident. She didn't open it. Her lawyer did. And his face turned pale. He whispered something in her ear. Claire didn't look at me. Didn't speak. Didn't fight. She signed the agreement in silence. She walked out of that room the same way she walked out of our home. Without explanation. Without goodbye. Without a clue how badly she had underestimated the man she betrayed. But that wasn't the end. A month later, I received a handwritten letter from her. Short. Apologetic. Half-hearted. I didn't know how unhappy I was until I was already gone. You didn't deserve it. I hope you find someone who sees you. I never did. I folded it once, placed it in a drawer, and never opened it again. She used my silence as permission. But silence is just strategy when you know how to wait. It's been a year since the divorce was finalized. I still visit Aspen sometimes. Not the cabin. I sold it a month after the papers were signed. I didn't want it. I just wanted her to know she couldn't have it. The profits? I donated most of them to a local nonprofit that builds transitional housing for veterans. Felt right. Felt like something that actually mattered. People always think revenge means destruction. Fire. Anger. Drama. But the best kind? Is quiet. Precise. You don't scream it. You live it. My house is quieter now, but not empty. There's peace in the walls. I cook dinner for myself. I sleep without checking the other side of the bed. I breathe fully. No tension in my chest. No waiting for the other shoe to drop. And sometimes, I think of her. Not with hate. Not even regret. Just as a reminder of how far I've come from the man who begged for closeness from someone who was already halfway gone. I kept that letter she wrote me, the last one. Not to read. Just to remind myself. Even someone you love deeply can be wrong about you. She said I was too steady, too predictable, too much of a routine. What she didn't realize is, that's exactly what builds empires. That's what rebuilds men from ruins. Now, I laugh more. I work less. I watch the snow fall from my porch and smile. Not because someone's coming home to me, but because I finally came home to myself. She took everything, except my soul. And from that, I rebuilt my life. Not for her, not for revenge, but for me.